everyone, it's Teresa and I have a fun video for you. We're gonna jump right into it. So we are going to start with one of these boards from the Dollar Tree. They're with like all of the picture frames and stuff like that, and I thought it would be really good to use for a sign. A little bit better than like the MDF cardboardy ones because it's a little thicker. It doesn't like bow like crazy like some of them do. If you take a sander, specifically if you have like an orbital sander, you can get all of that off. Pay no attention to that pumpkin. He's coming up later. So I got all of the white off with a sander, and then I went ahead and painted it in the Rust-Oleum Coastal Blue. That's going to be the color throughout this whole video, just so you know. And now I have this Hello Autumn transfer from Couture. It is the Club Couture for the month of September, so you can still get it. And just make sure you check out my link down below for Club Couture. That's the only way you can get it. You have to do it before the end of September. I am using the color Shimmer Copper on the middle part, and then all around the other part we're going to use the color Dune. Dune is a weird color. It's like, when I first saw it, I thought it was way more like just a brownish, like a light brown. But when you actually get it like in your hands, it's way more of like a vanilla, like yellow. There's definitely like a yellow tone to it. I'm kind of loving it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, but now I love it. It's definitely, like I said, a very vanilla-y color, if that's a word. It's probably not, but I make up words all the time. If you've been here for a little while, you know that. I make up words a lot. So yeah, like I said, definitely check out my Couture link for you below. I do also do a little bonus exclusive video for my club members. If you're interested, reach out. I'll let you know of all the little perks and stuff that they do for Couture Club. Once that's all done, I definitely needed a little something extra. So I take all of my leftover shimmer copper chalk paste that's left over from some other project you'll see in a minute, and I'm just going to kind of brush it on my little burlap bow because I was like, you know what, it needs a little something more. It was looking a little sad just being burlap, not having much else going on. That's okay. We're going to spruce it up with that. We're just going to hot glue it on to the top part of that. I intentionally left the really long tails on it. I'm going to, of course, ducktail them because, you know, we're fancy here. And this is all Shabby Chic, so it had to be fancy, right? That's just the way it is. And I am going to just kind of hot glue it in place. This is a wired ribbon, so I'm going to apply my hot glue just on the edge. And I'll say I probably need to go back and kind of spruce up a little bit of like my placement and make it a little bit, I don't know, you know, like make the bends of the ribbon look a little bit more intentional. I'm not sure. You kind of get the idea of what I'm going for though. And ignore that little acorn. I thought he was going to be, you know, the main show here, and I decided against it. It just wasn't working for me. I didn't want to cover up my gorgeous chalk design. And I've got some Sola Flowers. I definitely wanted to include one of the ones with the bark on it because it's super rustic, so cute. And here in a second, you'll see, nope, not going for the acorn. It didn't look right to me. I can't really say what I thought it almost kind of looked like, so we're not going to do that. I'm sorry if that was offensive to anybody. Please excuse me. Anyways, we're doing the flowers. I end up going with 3 of them. Like I said, I definitely wanted one of the bark ones. You could do all bark. You can dye these flowers. There's tons of things you can do with them. I love the natural ones. They're just super, super pretty. And I am just going to add a little bit of twine through my sign so we can hang it. If you want it just to be a stand-up sign, you can obviously either fill in those or just position your bow so that it covers them. Or, you know, put flowers there, acorns there, whatever you want to do. There's lots of different options. And we just give that a good tie, and there we go. It's ready to go for the most part. But we're not quite done yet because it wasn't looking shabby chic-y enough. Again, with the made-up words. So I'm just taking a little bit of that chalk paste called Dune, and I'm just going to go all the way around the sign and just kind of give it a slight brushing. I did put a little bit of water in with the chalk paste. It is very thick, so if you want to do something like this, you would need to water it down. Also, FYI, you can also stain your wood with it, and it is food safe, so that's a nice little use for it. Here it is though, turned out super pretty. I'm loving it. I love this sign. I'm using way more of those boards in the future. On to our pumpkin, the one that you kind of saw in the beginning that that you were supposed to ignore. You don't have to ignore it anymore. It's here. It's ready for you. This one had a couple of different ideas going, so there's like a bunch of stuff all over my desk, like normal. But we're gonna take some Dollar Tree ribbon. It's this really pretty, very feminine, very shabby chic lace ribbon. I almost forgot what it was. I'm just taking Mod Podge and I am gonna just go through the whole pumpkin, Mod Podging this lace on here. Obviously I painted the pumpkin in that coastal blue because that's the color we're going for in this. It's all going to be this gorgeous blue and copper and cream. I just thought that it just screamed shabby chic, but still gave us those fall vibes that we want right now. And like I said, we're just going over all of this with Mod Podge. Just to let you know, when you're doing that with a lace like this, it is going to give it a different color. It's going to give it kind of, I'll be honest, a little bit of a dingy color. But since it's shabby chic, it's kind of, you know, it's okay. I'm okay with it. That took forever, just so you know. And now I've got this little doorknob. I think I found it in the clearance section at Hobby Lobby for like 50 cents. I painted it in coastal blue. Again, you can see it there in the corner. And now I'm just going to give a little coat of Mod Podge on the bottom of my pumpkin just to kind of make sure that all of those pieces of lace aren't going to go anywhere. Once it dries, it's going to be a pretty like hard surface. So like I said, it was at the bottom, so I didn't care. And I've got this light copper paint. This is just some metallic paint that I got in the craft section at Target. And I'm just going over the top part of my doorknob. There's like just a little bit of detail on there, and I felt like it was just kind of just perfect. And that's going to be our stem. I know there's a technical term for it, and I legitimately can never think of what it is when I'm doing my voiceover. So I'm sorry. So you can kind of see here, but I'm just going to add a little bit of antique wax onto the top little knob part of my pumpkin, and then all over the lacy bits as well. Because like I said, when in doubt, it needs wax, right? It needs the antique wax. You know what's coming. When in doubt, wax it out. It's like my slogan. So eventually we will be done. I could have shown you, I sat here for a little bit to do this. So, and here it is, all finished up. It just turned out really, really pretty. And today's video is a collaboration with Crafty Leeny. She does her Leeny's Shabby Tuesdays, which is today. She's a sweetheart. If you do not know who she is, please go check her out. She is also a Chalk Couture designer, so I am sure you're going to find all kinds of great inspiration. Speaking of Chalk Couture, we're going to do one more. I love my Chalk Couture projects. I try not to do more than one, sometimes two. So this is number 2. Sorry. I've got these leaf cutouts. They are also available on Chalk Couture. Now, one thing I did not know, that there is a certain side for these leaf cutouts. The little stem of the leaf is actually going in a specific direction. I didn't know that beforehand, and I painted it, so it was kind of stuck because the other side's going to be something else. You'll have to check out my video next week to find out what that is. Not next week. I'm recording this ahead of time. On Thursday, I had to think. On Thursday, I'm doing my quick change challenge, so make sure you check that out on Thursday. That'll be coming up. You'll see what happens to the other side of these. Now, I did my coastal blue chalk paint, of course, as coating first, and then we're going over that with our shimmer copper. And here comes the peel, guys. Always make sure when you're doing your chalk paste, you wipe all the excess off and put it back in the jar. That's like the best part. Other than that right there, the peel is also the best part. And I actually tried to kind of wear away the sides because, again, it didn't fit perfectly on it because I put it on the wrong side. But instead, I am going to go back in with that Rust-Oleum paint in that coastal blue color and just kind of going in with a little chip brush and just giving it a little, like, I don't even know what to call it, rustic flair, maybe? That sounds good, right? Rustic flair. To these leaves. I did it, of course, to both. What's really cool about these cutouts is they're freestanding, so you don't have to worry about propping them up on something. They're cute little shelf sitters. There's tons of these available. They've got the most gorgeous ones coming up for Christmas. You definitely need to check it out if you think they're pretty. They have these snowflakes that are to die for. Check out the links below for my Cutouts site because they're gorgeous. I can't wait to get them. I haven't ordered them yet, but I will. Here is the final result of those, though. They turned out really, really pretty. All right, so I've got one of these hanging little bottle cap things from the dollar store, Dollar Tree specifically. I'm going to give it a full coat of this Rust-Oleum spray paint in copper. And I've got one of these little candle pillar stands from, again, Dollar Tree. And the first part we're going to do is we're adding a different, I've never used this one before. I think I used it on a couple of the last projects, but I didn't show you the can. This is a antique wax from Rust-Oleum. It's not a very appealing color in the jar. But I'm just going to brush that on real quick and kind of wear away a little bit of the excess. I'm not sure if I like the application of it on spray paint, but it does just fine on chalk paint, because here we go. We've got the stand in that same blue color, and I'm just going to brush over all of those little grooves, trying to bring in a lot of that detail. That way you can really see it. And apparently I'm going to do it out of frame a little. I'm sorry. But it's just kind of, cleaning it up a little, making it kind of bring it all into this little shabby chic, direction that we're going today. Once I've done that, I'm going to glue them together. I'm taking some super glue from Dollar Tree and some hot glue. You're going to find out in a minute this was problematic. When you do this, don't paint the top part of your candle stand. Next, this is going to be a little Mod Podge of craziness. So at first I thought I was going to cover it completely with the Sola wood flowers, and I changed my mind. But first I'm going to do kind of a couple rounds of the twine around the edges, because I was like, well, I don't want to hot glue it because it won't stick. And I don't want to do every individual flower with the super glue. So as you can see, I had a problem. It fell apart while I was putting on my flowers. So I scraped off all of the paint. FYI, I actually added a little bit of baking soda because it wasn't applying as well to that stand as I wanted it to. So I think that kind of interfered with the glue. So I scraped it off and added it on, and I have since not had a problem. And then I was like, okay, we're going to go all the way around with the flowers. And as I'm going, I'm like, this thing is going to stick up, and it's just, I don't know, it wasn't working for me. I wasn't loving the idea of it, so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the flowers off. Instead, I have some of this lacy, burlappy kind of ribbon. I just have like a little spool of it left. And I think I want to say it probably came from Joann's. This one's not from the Dollar Tree. But I'm just going to glue that all the way around. And because I've given it something to adhere to, the hot glue, I've given the hot glue something to adhere to other than the metal part. It's got that twine wrapped around. It'll stick just fine to that. Like I said, I didn't want to do the super glue all the way around with the flowers, so I did it to the actual twine. It works out just fine. At least this part, now that I have refixed the the stand without the paint on it. So word to the wise, that is a tip for you. And now what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue a few flowers to the front. We'll call it the front. These little Sola wood flowers usually have almost like a little stub on the back. So I cut off some of it so that it would sit a little bit more flush. So I'll just add a couple. I believe I do 3, one of the ones with the bark in the middle, and then 2, one on either side without the bark. And I will let you know, it is a bad idea to have an open flame near these. I had a lot of glue strings, and I burnt one flower completely, and then the other one kind of burnt. So no open flames near these flowers. But here they are, though, all finished up. On to our last project. Here are a couple more little pieces from the Dollar Tree. I just did 2 coats of the coastal blue paint, and now I've got that same light copper metallic paint from Target, and I'm just going over with a flat brush just the lines on this. I will say I think I'm going to probably go back and either wrap some twine around the middle or some lace, or add maybe like a little leaf detail in the middle of like some twine or lace, because it really wasn't quite giving me like the shabby chic feel. It was definitely giving me way more of like a modern feel, and I don't have anything modernish at all. So I'll probably go back and do that. The picture you're going to see in a minute, it doesn't have that, but I definitely need to add that. You guys will have to let me know any suggestions you have. But here's how they turned out though. Still turn out super cute. And here is a reveal of everything that we did today during Shabby Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new here coming over from Crafty Leeny's channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. And don't forget to check out my video that's coming out on Thursday. It's going to be part of a really big playlist as well. And I will see you next time.